So you're looking for some inexpensive knives, huh? Don't worry, you're watching the right video. Cheapskate. I've had the privilege to use and incorporate some higher end knives into my carry. And what I found on some occasions is that I don't always want to use a $400 knife in certain settings or for certain tasks, which suggested to me that I needed a knife that I was less attached to and one that could be easily replaced. And that's the impetus for today's video and why I recently went onto Amazon to purchase 5 knives, each under $20, just to see what was out there. And in case there's any question, none of the knives that I found are quality in the sense that I usually talk about quality. All of these are going to be made in China. None of them use incredible materials or steel, but that's kind of the point. That being said, I think there's some good options worth considering for $20 or less. So here's what I wound up with. The first one of the day is the Extreme Ops from Smith & Wesson. And this tactical looking knife is about 7 inches in overall length with a black 3.1 inch stainless steel blade in a clip point style. Note the split between the straight edge and the serrated edge on the blade. The handle is made from an aluminum and the locking mechanism is a liner lock. Deployment is done with a flipper tab, although I prefer the thumb stud. As you can see, the flipper tab is a little bit rough. The thumb stud just makes it a little easier to open. The Extreme Ops comes in at just under $20. It's not my favorite blade of the day, but certainly not my least favorite. Next up is a smaller knife from Kershaw called the Appa. It comes in at 6.5 inches in overall length with a blade length of about 2.75 inches in a reverse Tonto blade shape, again made from a black stainless steel. The handle is just made from some kind of alloy steel and it has a liner lock as well. Deployment is done with a flipper tab, and this thing, it's got some zing to it, which I absolutely love. The knife uses a speed safe opening assist that makes it very easy to deploy with one hand. I like this one quite a bit. It's one of my favorites among the bunch. It's lightweight, it's not very long, it's got a pretty slim profile, which makes it really easy to carry. The Appa is just $19 and I was pleasantly surprised with it. And it's definitely more along the lines of what I was looking for. And one thing to note is that since it does have an assisted opening, you may need to look at the laws in your area on that subject. Next is the Keximo, and holy machete of a knife, Batman. This probably isn't what I would consider an EDC knife, but I bought it anyway. The total length is 8.25 inches from start to finish with a blade length of 3.6 inches. The blade is made from a stainless steel, the handle is made from a G10, and the locking mechanism is a liner lock. Deployment, again here, is done with a flipper tab, and kind of like the Smith & Wesson, it's pretty lackluster. And I feel like this thing needs some kind of thumb stud instead of whatever the heck this is, which is really just not a great feel. The Keximo is definitely more of a sportsman knife than an EDC knife. It's just too big, but the handle is surprisingly comfortable. It fits in the palm of your hand pretty nice. If you're looking for a cheap outdoor knife, I'm not sure if this would be my first choice, but you can pick this up for only 13 bucks. Next on the list is a stubby son of a gun called the Ezkit pocket knife. The Ezkit pocket knife is 5 inches in overall length with a 2-inch blade made from a D2 steel. The handle is made from a blackwood and it has a liner lock as a locking mechanism. There's no pocket clip on this guy, and deployment is done with a thumb stud. There's actually quite a bit of drag on the opening mechanism, and due to the small size, opening the knife with the thumb stud can feel a little bit awkward, and I found myself wanting a good flipper tab at the top. I've been into smaller knives recently, so this one caught my interest. Overall, the knife is quite dense, and it's just It's heavy, it's bulky relative to the size, which sort of defeats the purpose of carrying a knife of this size. But at the end of the day, it's only 13 bucks. The last knife of the day is this one from Effengrow. This is the EF27 and is another one of my favorites of the day. Total length is 8.2 inches. Blade length is 3 3/4 of an inch. It's made from D2 steel in a clip point style. The handle is made from G10 scales, and the closing mechanism is a liner lock. Deployment is done with a flipper tab, and there are some ball bearings in this opening mechanism, which makes deployment feel really smooth. The EF27 comes in at $19.99, and it's a win for me. It's a bit longer than I would normally carry, but I'll be using this one in the future for sure. So I'll say again, I wouldn't expect too much out of any of these knives in terms of steel performance, which will or may limit the utility of some of them. But I really like the idea of having something like these at my disposal just in case. If you feel a similar sort of way, some of these are definitely worth checking out. Now, in order of my preference, I would first go with the Kershaw, which is a knife with a slim profile. It's lightweight, it's easy to open, followed by the Effengrow EF27. It's a little bit longer than I would normally carry, but still a great knife for $20. After that, I would go with the Smith & Wesson. And in last place, I would put the Ezkit and the Keximo. So I hope that's been helpful. Please give this a thumbs up if it was. And as always, thanks for watching.